Hey guys, go back to the channel, or if you're new, welcome. When you get back into more Amberlynn Read content. Well, kind of Alexa's video, so Alexa's content, but Amberlynn drama. So we're going to get into this one, the Beck video, and then the second mukbang, which is going to be Foodie's one. So let's get into the video and get straight into it, shall we?
Hello. I know I've been really quiet for the last couple weeks, but just know I have still been in the loop. And since I recently got my monetization back, I figured now would be a good time for me to speak out on a couple of things.
Which, I mean, sounds about right. The money's in, so she's back.
In this video, I'd like to talk about certain situations that have happened in the last couple of weeks with Amber. But I more specifically want to focus on Beck and their videos and their Q&As and certain responses that they've had.
Good time to jump in and mention that Alexis has been watching both Amber and Reaction channels since 2018, so it's not like they were out of the loop. They knew a whole heap of stuff before they became friends with Amber, so like, just want to mention that too.
So I'm hoping I can, if nothing else, provide an interesting perspective from my point of view on a couple of situations that have happened in the last couple of weeks in the Amberverse.
I mean, since you decided to, you know, be her friend after seeing all the shit that she done to other people.
So let's get into it.
Am I shocked that Amber would want to date a feeder? No, I'm not. And her being with someone who is okay with the weight she's at or really okay with her gaining more weight would be the easiest type of relationship for her to be in.
I 100% agree, because when she was with Valentine or Erica, she immediately hopped on Ozempic again. She immediately got a prescription for that, or wherever she got it from, I think a med spa. And when we get a little bit further into this video, I'm going to pull clips from Amberlynn's videos where she talks about getting on semaglutide once again. But I'm going to be sharing a little aspect of this whole semaglutide thing that nobody has talked about and nobody has mentioned.
Alright, I'm willing to give her a chance. I wonder what that is.
Because I think that I might be the only one who actually knows besides her and probably her mom. But anyways, so when she was with Valentine / Erica, I mean, we all know that Erica was really obsessed with like her fitness and being in the gym. So Amberlynn saw her as like a savior, like, oh, this girl's obsessed with her fitness. She's going to get me on track. I'm going to get on track. I'm going to get my weight down. Like, this is going to be it for me. So I think that's why she clung onto Erica so hard, even though she was in a marriage already.
I don't really think it's that. I think it's more so the fact that Amber has such strong codependency issues that she will attach herself to literally anyone who will give her the most basic of attention.
And after that relationship ended, I think that she was just willing to settle for whatever, and she doesn't want to work towards anything now. Not that she did before, but it is a lot easier for her to be with someone that allows her to eat whatever she wants to.
Well, so far we're 2 minutes into the video and you have not said anything new. Like, we all know this, we've all said this. Nothing special so far.
I don't really have anything to say about Emily. I don't know her, but I will say that I don't see how you can care for a person while participating in feederism with no concern for their health.
And this is exactly the reason why I told Amberlynn that I cannot be friends with her anymore when she started dating Emily. Like, yes, Emily seemed nice enough. She was quiet. But during the period where Amberlynn and Emily and I would sit on FaceTime calls, Emily would always make these weird little suggestive comments that let me know that she was not a good person. I specifically remember one of the FaceTime calls where Amberlynn was talking about semaglutide, and she was debating whether she should DoorDash or not. But Emily was so persistent, like, yeah, you know, you should DoorDash. I want to, like, watch. But I was still on the phone, so Amberlynn was like, no, like, I don't want to cheat on my diet. Like, I've been doing good. Like, she actually exhibited some self-discipline in that conversation.
I mean, again, we all said this, including myself, like, it's only going to be a matter of time before Amber breaks, and if you have someone who gives the idea that it is your idea to break, then that's going to be on you and not them. It's only a suggestion after all.
But then Emily DoorDashed for herself, and she was like, come on, babe, like, let's eat dinner together. So Amberlynn then eventually did DoorDash, and they did both eat.
And this basically is just concrete evidence, and I say concrete evidence because in the other video, she shows a message, and then, Emily admits that she did in fact do that. So it really comes down to the fact that we already knew this was a thing. The tea is not hot. We all just knew it for a fact. It was just something that we couldn't say 100% for sure because we didn't have the evidence, but now we do.
And I just want to note that this is before they met in real life. And this was before I announced that I wasn't going to be friends with her anymore. And Amberlynn was still on semaglutide at the time. So on top of Amberlynn being lazy and not wanting to stick with a plan or stick with a diet, it was also Emily that encouraged her to stop taking the semaglutide.
Again, not surprising, that is kind of Emily's thing, and even if Amber wasn't willing to get off semaglutide, she was always going to do enough damage in order for her to maintain or gain weight, because she was gaining weight on semaglutide the last time she was doing it, only a week or two ago, so Emily's influence was enough damage in order for Amber to not have any progress.
I do think that she convinces herself that her lies are true because she wants them to be true. It's really hard to explain why I think that, but I feel like I've seen it happen.
A lie that really stands out to me that Amberlynn told me was regarding who she was seeing and who she was talking to right after her and Beck had broken up. So she was talking to Jade, but apparently she also was talking to a girl named Alex. And allegedly, Jade allowed Amberlynn to eventually meet this girl, even though they were together. However, Amberlynn told me this after she stopped allowing Jade and I to talk to each other. And I don't have Jade's information, so there's no way that I could reach out to confirm. But every time that I would bring up that situation for clarification, she would never give me the same story twice. She would never present the same story as she did initially. So that leads me to believe that she did believe her own lies because she would tell me lies. And then in her head, I could hear her justifying in her head why that lie was true. I don't really know how to explain it either, but I know for a fact that she lied all the time.
I kind of go back and forth because ultimately you don't really know what a narcissistic person is thinking. You can't really assign a belief to it because you can't really say 100% for sure. And with a narcissistic person, it's either they may potentially believe their own lies or they may potentially believe that they are above you, so their justification can change and it doesn't matter because why do they have to justify themselves to you? You're a nobody to them or you are less than them, so you don't need to know the truth.
The only other red flag I've really seen from Amber was she did have a crush on Billie Eilish when Billie was just starting out. So I think she was a teenager around then, which I told her was weird, and so did Eric and Ricky. But she said that she was almost an adult and that she acted older and looked older, so it was okay.
And it's vile as hell to me because, if you have to justify your attraction by saying they look and act older, just gross. Just gross. I could go on and on about it, but we all know how I feel about it.
I just really wished I would have dug deeper into these things and taken it more seriously because they really are awful and it's unacceptable behavior. But I will always stand with victims.
So one thing I want to mention relating to this topic. So I was the one that brought to the public that Amberlynn was talking to a 20-year-old romantically.
I do want to throw it out there that Alexis herself said that Abby was 19 at the time, and she has also said she's 20. So which is it? Is she 19 or is she 20? Or did she age up from 19 to 20 while talking to Amber? You had to be very accurate with that information because otherwise it kind of leads people to think that you may potentially be lying. And I have also mentioned that she was 19 because Alexis has said that.
So not only was there a 13, 14-year difference between the two, there is something that I would like to mention regarding Abby and Amberlynn's relationship. So the only reason why Amberlynn and Abby didn't start dating was because Abby had a very religious upbringing, and Amberlynn would tell me that Abby would cry to her and tell her that her talking to Amberlynn in that way was wrong in her eyes.
Alexis did also mention this before, that there was internalized homophobia in Abby, which creates a bigger power gap, which is very dangerous because, Amber being a manipulator and an abuser, on top of the already big age gap. So you have 13, 14 years, but then you also have internalized homophobia. That would create such a strong power dynamic between those two.
And that her family would never accept her, or Amberlynn for that matter. And this young girl was truly having an identity crisis. But Amberlynn would tell her, it's okay to be gay, God doesn't hate gays. which I personally agree with. And I am all for trying to encourage young people to be who they are without any shame, as long as it's not hurting them or somebody else.
Which is true, like there is no harm in being gay, because as long as you're in a consensual, loving relationship with your partner who happens to be the same sex, then what does that matter? Like, it's such a weird concept to me that people hate other people simply because of skin color or sexuality. It's just crazy. I don't understand it. But like, if you choose to believe in God and you believe God loves you, even if you are gay, doesn't matter, don't care. I personally have the mindset, if you don't respect me, then I don't respect you. And just because you may be an all-powerful being, I don't give two shits.
But with Amberlynn, she was using these tactics as a way to manipulate this girl so that Amberlynn could have what she wanted, which was a relationship with this 20-year-old girl. I also wanted to mention that before I became friends with Amberlynn, I did not know anything about Libby, and I didn't know that Amberlynn had a weird history with liking or being inappropriate around minors, and that I did tell her that talking to a 20-year-old romantically was weird, and that even though she was technically legal and of age, a 20-year-old's mindset is drastically different than a 33, 34-year-old's mindset.
I agree that if she didn't know about the Libby situation, then she shouldn't be faulted for that. That being said, you knew about the Abby situation and you still chose to be friends with her. And I have been in that position where I've had friends try to date people that much younger. I immediately cut them out of my life because I don't want to be around those people. I don't want to associate with those people. I sure as hell do not want a relationship with those people.
Granted, I now understand that Amberlynn's emotionally and mentally stunted. So I could see from her perspective, her feeling ensured that this relationship was okay.
Even so, not a justification. Like, you being mentally stunted isn't a justification to date someone 13 to 14 years younger. Like, I understand that she's not trying to argue that, but it's not something you could look at and take into account. Like, it's not something I would anyway.
And from a legal standpoint, I guess it would have been okay. But from a moral and social standpoint, it's really not.
Which is something that so many people don't take into account. They're like, well, it's legal, and, like, so what?
I just turned 29 in January, and I couldn't imagine myself dating anyone under 24. And 24 would be pushing kind of close, at least for me.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that, because people can't fully develop at the age of 24. Me personally, I just have a 2-year rule. Like, anyone younger than me by 2 years, immediately no. Which, that being said, I don't think I've dated anyone younger than me. I think I've only dated people who are older, unless I forgot someone. I'm not a hoe, by the way. I'm just thinking about my exes.
Because I want a girlfriend that I can have intelligent conversations with, and we're working towards the same goals, and we have similar interests. And I just don't get how a 20-year-old and a 33 or 34-year-old could be on the same page about anything.
Oh, 100%, but also just because they're the same age as you does not mean they are mentally mature either.
Many times that I had tried to break up with her, but she would somehow find a way to stop it from happening by like saying that she would fix things and things would get better and we would get better.
So Beck saying this reminded me of the time that I kind of stopped trying to be friends with Amberlynn. I don't know if I necessarily said we can't be friends anymore, but I think I said something along the lines of, we need to like take a step back, or we need to cut some things out of our communication with each other, because I had a girlfriend and she was single at the time, but she would still make like really suggestive comments publicly, like on Facebook, calling me like daddy, even though I was in a relationship and everyone knew that.
I feel like in those situations, you have to be more so direct. It's like, you either cut that shit out or you get out of my life. And if they continue to do it, bye-bye. Because if I was ever in a situation where my partner was being actively insulted, because that is an insult towards them, I would just kick that person out of my life. Like, you're not going to disrespect my partner and me at the same time because you refuse to respect a boundary.
But anyway, so there was this one night where she flipped out because I wasn't talking to her enough because I was at my girlfriend's house at the time. And she left me this voicemail.
Hello. So my abandonment thingy is happening right now. I'm getting a little irrational with anxiety and fear. So that's why I keep texting But I just wanted to apologize if I came off as mean or insensitive or anything the way that I want to treat you always because you're a good friend of mine. Why am I about to start crying in a voice message? Like, I need help. I don't like when we argue. It does not feel good. It feels very lonely and painful. I hope you and Bailey have a really good night. And again, I'm sorry. I don't want either of you mad at me because I definitely never meant any ill will at all. Love you guys.
The only thing that I have to say to that is like, Amber, how the hell are you gonna talk shit about Alexis feeling abandoned when you do the exact same thing, but so much worse?
So listening back to that, that apology does actually sound kind of genuine for her.
Honestly, I was gonna say the complete opposite because it feels like just straight up genuine manipulation. Like, how are you gonna say, oh, I'm about to cry, what is wrong with me? Like, Amber, you cry all the time. You should know by now there is something severely wrong with you.
But it just makes me sad because I know that back then I believed that it was genuine and I felt bad for her, which is literally why she sent that to me and why she wanted to apologize in the first place. Because when she was lonely or she felt like she was losing her grasp on me, she would be more kind sounding and more attentive. But keep in mind, this is when she didn't have a girlfriend. This is when she was single. So there wasn't anyone or anything occupying her time.
Not to mention that you weren't just someone occupying her time, you were also a backup just in case, you know, she couldn't find someone else.
She did go to therapy for a very, very short time when we were together, maybe a few sessions. But no, she was not diagnosed with BPD while we were together.
I think I've said this before, but Amberlynn absolutely has not been diagnosed with borderline, or now she's been saying that she has CPTSD.
She's also trying to get onto the spectrum and say that she has ADHD and stuff like that too, so try not to let her fool you on that.
And granted, both of those diagnoses are possible for the things that she has been through in her life. However, there are a lot of other mental illness diagnoses that it could be as well.
Oh, trust, we all know that.
There is no doubt in my mind that she has some type of cluster B disorder. But until you are evaluated by a professional or a group of professionals, you have no idea what you have. And you can't just use Google and AI chat to diagnose yourself. It doesn't work that way.
That is so true, and I genuinely hate when people self-diagnose and then try to make that a personality trait. Like, no, a mental illness or a disorder is not a personality trait. It is something to overcome, not something to make your entire personality. And your actions reflect badly on the people who have those disorders and disabilities and who are trying to live their life or try to be better people. Like, I don't like the fact that I have an anxiety disorder. I don't like the fact that I'm autistic. It's something I have to deal with because it's something I was born with. I can't just wish it away and I can't just medicate it away, so I deal with it the best I can.
And from my perspective, this is just another lie that she has told that she has fully convinced herself to be true.
I don't think she has ever truly been confident in herself or in her own interests enough to just be herself around people. Or maybe she knew that who she really was wasn't as likable as the people she wanted to befriend, so it was easier to act like them than to be judged or scrutinized for her own personality and behavior.
And I'm pretty sure too, like she did say that on the Retro Reacts, that she would rather be hated for who she's not instead of hated for who she truly is.
I think it's important to find people who like you for who you are, but I think she didn't feel like that was possible, so she had to be someone else with everyone. If she had just been herself, she could have formed real friendships a long time ago and been actually working on herself and improving all this time.
I can kind of agree, but the thing is, with Amber, she's a narcissist who is incapable of self-reflection because she doesn't see herself as the problem. So in order to self-reflect, you would have to accept the fact that you are in fact the problem. And in order to do that, you need to want to change, and Amber has never displayed the ability to ever want to really change. It's the same thing with Foodie too. Like, they say that they want to lose weight, but they don't really want to put in the effort. They really want to stop raging and be a better person and be more modest and be more accepting and caring and loving, but they don't show actual growth. They never do.
I wholeheartedly agree. I truly believe that I would often find myself wondering if we were really that similar or if she was parroting all of my little phrases or parts of my personality.
Oh, 100% mimicking. Like, human beings on instinct trust people, or more so are trusting to people who look and act like them.
She never admitted to lying about a disorder, but I think that's because she genuinely believes that she has every single one that she says she has. She would self-diagnose constantly based on how she felt and a few Google searches.
Not to mention, she tries to use it as a shield for criticism because, like, any argument that she now has, it's, well, I have BPD, I was having a BPD moment, I can't regulate my emotions, I have childhood trauma, this is why I don't remember things. Like, she can remember stuff from, 11 years ago, 20 years ago, like, oh, this is the guy that I started dating in primary school or high school, or, this is what I did, when I was 18, but she can't remember the abuse she did. She can't remember the abuse of Destiny, of Beck, of Wifey, all of these things that she potentially has done, but can remember all these things from her childhood.
I just want to say one thing to Amber because I know that she's going to watch this. So, Amber, I know that it's really hard for you to be accountable for your own actions and to tell the truth in the way that things had actually happened and not your own twisted version of the truth. But once you realize that life isn't going to get better until you start taking accountability for your own actions, and when you realize that you can't blame everyone else in the world for your own shortcomings, and you actually decide to get the help that you clearly need, life does get better and life does get easier, and dealing with big emotions or scary situations becomes less of a crisis and more of an everyday thing that everyone has to deal with.
Oh, like 100%, and I am kind of proof of that. Like, I'm not going to admit that I'm perfect by any means, because, well, I'm not. I still mess up, I'm going to have the wrong takes. It's only human. But as long as I am doing better than the day before, hell yeah.
While with Amber, she would be very defensive anytime I'd try to ask her if she may be bisexual. She would say no and accuse me of trying to label her or change who she was. I'd ask about it because she would talk a lot about being with guys. I do understand being confused about your identity and wanting to explore that, but I was never really given that opportunity to support her or to allow her to explore that part of her. We didn't talk more about it because she was so adamant that she only liked women and would shut me down anytime I asked about possibly being bi.
So this was actually the part of Beck's new video where I paused the video and decided that I was going to make my own. So a couple things about this. Amber would literally always ostracize me anytime that I would talk about anything that wasn't another woman. She would be like, oh, I thought you were a lesbian. Or, oh, I don't really like bisexual girls. Whenever I would share an experience that I had. First of all, if we're not dating, it doesn't really matter the experiences that I've had. And even if we were dating, who are you to judge me?
Honestly, I can understand both. Like, it is a real fear because people do act in a certain way that makes us all look bad. But then at the same time, you can't paint everyone with the same brush. And like myself, for example, I want to find someone that I truly care about and spend my life with that person. Like, I don't care about exploring my sexuality or having an open relationship. I want one person and I want one person only. But I know that I'm not the only bisexual person who has that mindset. But then there's also the opposite spectrum people will always cheat. They will always find something else, or they will be closeted and hide who they truly are and seek that relationship or that companionship out with other people. So it's kind of like some people ruin it for all.
Secondly, I would not really say that I'm bisexual, but this is not about me. I just think it's funny how she accepted that from Jade, the being bisexual, and she would have entertained a 3-person rendezvous with Jade had the opportunity arose. Not to mention, when she was talking to Danielle and Abby and Erica, she was also talking to a guy. You know what? Let me see if I can find the receipts. Yeah, so I found them. And here is the conversation that we had regarding her conversations with him.
Yeah, no, this just really reinforces my point that Amber will date anyone who will give her enough attention. And I'm willing to bet this guy is probably a subscriber who likes Amber or is probably like a fetishist.
Sitting on my couch. I really don't want to get up, but...
Yeah, no, this guy's a good-looking bloke, but I'm willing to bet he's either a massive freak or a massive fan.
I guess I have to now, because he just hung up on the phone with me, even though we were having a great conversation. I don't even know what I want to do now, I could clean my bathroom or my kitchen. I think I need your input on this.
Why in the hell would you ever need Amber's input on cleaning? Like, she has fully admitted that she will not wash her blankets that she sleeps on for a whole last month. Like, that is disgusting.
I don't know. I need to drive to Oklahoma first and deliver you ice cream. Coffee, ice cream. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, he's both.
Okay. This is my second vlog, by the way, so I'm already getting up there. I already have 5 subscribers, so peace out.
As for the guy, oh my god. He's a subscriber type deal, type situation, and I think that he might have a fetish for the bigger girlies, and
Oh, you don't say, Amber.
he's super attractive. I can say that. Like, you can look at him and you can be like, oh yeah, he's cutie. Well, we exchanged numbers. I was super freaking drunk. He ended up calling me and we had a little moment that rhymes with tone pecs. Yeah, it happened.
Therapy. Every single one of them, put them all in therapy.
It is not my finest moment. I have been extremely lonely. I have been confused. I have been going through it. I am literally heartbroken over 2 people at once. I have been turning to alcohol. I felt lonely, and he made me feel like I was the hottest thing ever. And it just kind of happened. It is what it is.
Look, girl, it's fine. Like, we all go through our hoe phase.
So was all of that talk about me liking guys and how it's gross, just you projecting?
Which is funny, like, how are you going to be bisexual and also biphobic?
As for my experience as a non-binary person with Amber, I did bring it up a few times in our relationship. The only response I got was always, I don't know, you seem like a woman to me. It took me saying something publicly in a video recently to get her to respect my pronouns and name. So I don't think that if I'd come out at that time that she would have respected that decision.
She does not look like a girl. She taped on her boobs on purpose, so they'd always think that was a boy. So it's just really weird because I'm not into that.
That audio was from a couple years ago when Amberlynn was addressing, I believe, Casey, and how he looked like a boy, but Amberlynn wasn't into that. So no, I don't think that Amberlynn would have respected Beck coming out as non-binary. And when Amberlynn and I would talk about Beck, Amberlynn would still use she, her pronouns, even though she knew better.
It's one of those situations where it's like, you aren't forced to use their pronouns, but it's just the respectful thing to do. Like, there is no bad situation for this. Like, respecting the individual by saying they and them is not going to kill you.
Amberlynn doesn't respect and won't respect anything that she doesn't understand or identify with. So in the beginning of this video, I said that I was going to try to find clips from Amberlynn's videos regarding semaglutide to pull and put into this video. However, I'm really struggling to find those clips, so I'm just going to talk about what I know. So when Amberlynn was on semaglutide when she was with Erica, she allegedly was working with this company, and if she lost a certain amount of weight and was promoting it on her channel and was doing well off of the semaglutide, apparently she had this link, and if people were getting semaglutide from her link, she would get kickbacks. Or I think she said that she would be able to take it for free for herself. But she never stayed on semaglutide long enough to see any results, which means she never promoted the company and she never shared her link and she never got the kickbacks.
I do remember what she's talking about. Like, Amber mentioned that she would lose her YouTube channel if she promoted semaglutide because it is a weight loss drug, technically a drug, so she could lose her YouTube channel. That's why she stopped promoting it. But it does make a little bit more sense that Amber wouldn't actually look that up, and more so that she just wanted to stop using semaglutide, so she just didn't promote the website or like the provider.
I am going to end this video here. Thank you to everyone that watched this video and any of my other videos. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Okay, bye.
Alright guys, coming to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. 3 videos down and 2 more to go. See you in the next one. Bye bye.